front row of the grid there, Trevor van Rooyen in the Ralt RT4. And right beside him in the Hecro March is Ian Scheckter making a comeback to Formula Atlantic Racing. On the second row, Brian Ferris, car number 2 at Tommy Martin. Right beside him. Out in front of them, right down the back of the grid is Tilanus, the reigning champion at the moment, and he is driving a new innovation to Formula Atlantic Racing today, a turbocharged March 78B. Should be very, very exciting to see how this actually goes at Formula Atlantic Racing. The biggest field that we've seen in Formula Atlantic Racing for some considerable time. There are 18 cars on the grid, a lot of newcomers to the field, and more newcomers coming up in the future. I hear today that Billy Maloney, who's well known in modified and standard production car racing, has bought the car that Dave Charlton is driving today, and that he'll be making an appearance in the next round of the National Championship. So Formula Atlantic certainly has got its act together, and it's getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. The rain which came down at the beginning of that production car race that you've just seen has been falling steadily throughout the afternoon. We've had many spills, certainly with the motorcycle racing, and you can still see that that track is very, very wet indeed as they come through Sunset here on this pace lap. To recap on the front of the grid, Trevor van Rooyen took pole position yesterday in dry conditions with a time of 1 minute 19.64 seconds. Ian Scheckter, surprisingly maybe, but nevertheless, maybe he hasn't lost that old class that he had when he won the championship 4 consecutive years. Right beside him, 1 minute 19.89. Brian Ferris and Tony Martin on the second row of the grid. Brian Ferris in third place with 120.86. Tony Martin in the Maurer right beside him at 121.29. Then we've got Wayne Taylor driving a March 802 on the third row of the grid with 121.55, and Roy Carr right beside him in a March 792, and he is there with 121.81. Then Graham Duxbury, the man who's lying currently third in the points position. Trevor van Rooyen and Tony Martin having a joint lead in the championship at this stage of time with 42 points each. Then behind them, quite a bit behind them, is Graham Duxbury, and he's on the fourth row of the grid as the pace car pulls off, and away they go on the first lap of this Sigma Formula Atlantic race, Kyalami, the fourth round of the National Championship. Down towards Scowthorne for the first time, and look at the spray that these cars driving, of course, today on wet tires. Look at the spray that they're kicking up. Going into the first corner there, it looked very, very much like Tony Martin to me. We'll bring you up to date as they come round, but this is the position on the first lap of this race.
And we'll be seeing more of that excitement from Kyalami a little later on this afternoon.
And welcome back to Kyalami with the news that Trevor van Rooyen, driving the Wreck-Right Racing Ralt RT4, is still in the lead after some 9 laps of this race. 18 laps to go. We're around about the halfway stage, and there are the positions. In second place, Tony Martin, who has moved up to pass Ian Scheckter. And in third place now, Wayne Taylor has moved up from fourth place to third, passing Ian Scheckter just before you joined us. Ian Scheckter, making his comeback to Atlantic Racing here today, is in fourth position in the same car in which he won the championship just a few years ago. A car prepared by Ken Howes, Mark 78B. The conditions here at Kyalami, as you can see, very, very damp indeed. The rain has been pouring down for some considerable time, and it has made conditions here for racing very, very slippy indeed. We've had a couple of motorcycle races with a lot of spills on this very, very slippy surface, and now the single-seaters in action. A big field here today, as I said earlier on to you, some 18 cars in the field, and Formula Atlantic getting its act together and getting things really going. The man we're looking at the moment, just going through the picture there, is car number 2. That was Tony Martin. This is car number 5, which is Wayne Taylor, who's lying in 3rd position and obviously presenting a very, very strong challenge to Tony Martin. This is Martin, a couple of slower runners there, a little bit of slower traffic for him to get through. And there is Wayne Taylor going through on the inside of those slower runners now and charging after Tony Martin. Wayne Taylor moving up. Earlier on he was way down in 6th position. He's now right up to 3rd. He's passed Ian Scheckter. He's passed Brian Ferris. He's passed Andre Duplessis and Graham Duxbury. And he is right up there. Trevor van Rooyen way out in the lead. And now only some 4 seconds between Tony Martin and Wayne Taylor. There's the distance, and there's 4 seconds between them. The turbocharged March 78B of Bernard Tilanus has disappeared from the race. It didn't present the challenge that he expected it to do. So reigning champion, the defending champion I should say, Bernard Tilanus, out of this race well and truly. Tony Martin now coming down into Crowthorne, being chased very, very hard by Wayne Taylor in the Pretoria Brick Racing March 802. Sliding round on that very, very wet surface. These cars, of course, all running on rain tyres, on wet weather tyres. Unlike the Group 1 race, which you saw earlier on, they went out on slicks, so we had sliding all over the place. With me in the commentary box today is a former chairman of the Formula Atlantic Association, a man who's very, very closely involved with Formula Atlantic racing all the time, Andrew Thompson. Andrew, why do you think that the challenge from that turbocharged car didn't mature?
I think that it's expecting a little bit much. It's a new exercise for the South African mechanics building a turbocharged car. As with any new racing car, it requires a little bit of time to eliminate all the teething problems and bugs that exist. And of course, Bernard Tilanus hasn't had a very easy job driving this new car on this very, very slippery circuit this afternoon. The turbocharged engines have a rather tricky power characteristic in that there's either a lot of power available, or when the turbocharger unit slows down, there's hardly any. The power tends to come in with a bit of a bang. And on a slippery circuit, this can be very, very awkward for the driver to handle. I imagine that that's what happened to Bernard. I understand that he slid off the circuit somewhere, and I dare say that was the reason for it. However, they'll be back, and I think it's going to be a car to watch for the remainder of the year. At this stage, the interest obviously lies in the battle for 2nd place, which we see on the screen now. Tony Martin in the lead from Wayne Taylor, who's moving up through the field and showing tremendous maturity for a young driver under very, very difficult conditions. Tony, of course, has had years and years of experience and should be better equipped to cope with the situation. But Wayne's obviously got the bit between his teeth, and he's not going to be happy until he's passed Tony.
This is the man in 2nd position at the moment, Tony Martin from Natal in the BP 2000 Racing Maurer MM81. A little bit of slower traffic as he comes into Sunset Corner. This is the man in 2nd position, and Wayne Taylor not very far behind him according to our timekeepers here. There's only 3 seconds, less than 3 seconds between these two. But Trevor van Rooyen, the man who's at the moment joint leader in the championship points, Trevor van Rooyen way ahead indeed. Trevor van Rooyen and Tony Martin at 42 points each before this race. Graham Duxbury, who at the moment is lying in 7th position, is 3rd in the championship. And this is the race as it stands at the moment. Trevor van Rooyen way out in the lead, and this is the battle for 2nd position that we are looking at. Only seconds between these two, less than 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds between these two cars now as they come down the straight under Marlborough Bridge and down to Crowthorne Corner at the end of the straight. Who will be the last one to brake on these slippy surfaces? You can see the car waggling a little bit as they hit the brakes. Tony Martin goes through ahead of Wayne Taylor. Ian Scheckter still lying in 4th position. And 5th position, Brian Ferris at the moment, and at 6th, Andre Duplessis. Andre Duplessis, of course, moving up from Formula Ford. Wayne Taylor in this red Pretoria Brick Racing March 802. chasing hard on the heels of the very experienced Tony Martin from Natal. Tony, who won the race last time out here at Kyalami, powering it round Clubhouse in these very, very tricky conditions indeed. And there's the distance you can see now between those two cars just going round the S's and the leader of the race, who is Trevor van Rooyen. This is not Trevor van Rooyen's car that we're looking at, or is it at the moment as it comes down the straight? We are looking at Roy Carr at the moment. This is the man who's in 8th position of the race. Here is this battle developing even again, and Wayne Taylor seems to be making up the space. This is Andre Duplessis. Andre Duplessis lying at the moment in 6th place. And look at those cars sliding round that very, very icy Sunset Bend. Wayne Taylor making another attempt to get past Tony Martin there. There's nothing between these two at the moment. The official timekeeper makes it about 3 seconds, and there certainly isn't 3 seconds between these cars at the moment. Wayne Taylor really charging ahead and turning in a fantastic drive, putting the pressure on Tony Martin, and I know that Tony Martin doesn't like to see anybody in his rear mirrors, certainly not as close as Wayne Taylor is at the moment.
I think that Wayne Taylor this afternoon has justified his sponsors' faith in him. There was a period earlier in the year when people were asking questions about his ability. I think he found the transition from his old car to the new wing car, which is an entirely different driving concept, a little bit difficult. He's obviously got it all sussed out, and he's driving like a experienced master in these very, very difficult wet conditions this afternoon. On the screen you see leader Trevor van Rooyen lapping ex-champion Ian Scheckter, just to illustrate the mastery that Van Rooyen has this afternoon. Means that he's made up about 1.5 minutes on Scheckter in something like 15 laps, which is an incredible performance. Also illustrates the difference in technology between the new generation wing cars and the old non-wing cars in terms of adhesion and just outright road holding. There we see Van Rooyen exiting the second S on his way up the hill to Westbank Corner.
Trevor van Rooyen now in the lead, car number 3, the Rackrite Racing Ralt RT4, now beginning his 17th lap, only a lap and a half to go in this race, and Trevor van Rooyen has got a very, very commanding lead indeed as he comes down through the kink. Trevor van Rooyen, Tony Martin, Wayne Taylor, Ian Scheckter, Brian Ferris. That is the order as we come towards the end of this race. This is the leader. You saw that flash of flame as he changed down through the gears there, put on the brakes, and through Crowthorne Corner he goes, down the hill now into Marlborough, flat out, or as flat out as they can go in these very, very slippy and wet and oily conditions here today. Tony Martin and Wayne Taylor looking further down the field. Tony Martin and Wayne Taylor have swapped positions. Wayne Taylor has moved into 2nd place. This is the leader we're looking at. This is the leader. Some 17 laps gone, an 18-lap race. But this is the leader, Trevor van Rooyen, through Clubhouse now towards the end of this race. Wayne Taylor has passed Tony Martin in the Maurer. Wayne Taylor in a March 802, moving up now into 2nd place. Ian Scheckter still lying in 4th place in his return to single-seater racing today. And what a pity the conditions couldn't have been a little better to return to single-seater racing. But coming down now towards the kink is Trevor van Rooyen. Trevor van Rooyen leading the championship at the moment with Tony Martin. And down across the start-finish line, we're informed that this is the last lap for Trevor van Rooyen, so into Crowthorne Corner now for the last time. And You can see now that there is an incredible distance between Trevor van Rooyen and the next car coming down now into Crowthorne. And this is Ian Scheckter going through there, but Ian Scheckter in 4th position, Trevor van Rooyen having moved right up the field. Trevor van Rooyen in 1st position, Wayne Taylor now in 2nd position, Tony Martin lying 3rd, Ian Scheckter lying 4th, Andre Duplessis lying 5th, and Brian Ferris lying 6th. Through Clubhouse Corner, or Ford Corner as it's now known, Trevor van Rooyen into the first of the S's, breaking now into the second of the S's, and now up the hill, and somebody off in the catch fences there, the yellow flags out. It looked very, very much to me as if that might have been Wayne Taylor. It was a red car. We'll keep an eye on it there, but here comes Trevor van Rooyen to take the checkered flag at the end of this 4th round of the championship. Trevor van Rooyen in the March 78B crosses the line to take the checkered flag and does his lap of honor. A little wave to the crowd there as he went underneath the Dunlop Bridge, and we are now waiting for the second men to come in. Wayne Taylor in the March 802. If that wasn't him that went off, we have Ian Scheckter crossing the line now and taking the checkered flag. He's the second man across, but we'll give you the official result of that in just a few moments. The average speed of the race today for the winner was 151,366 kilometers an hour. A slower, much slower speed than would normally have been put up here at Kyalami in dry conditions. Trevor van Rooyen waving to the crowd now down at the back stretch of the course. So the results as we have them at the moment, subject to confirmation. In 1st place was Trevor van Rooyen driving the Ralt RT4. In 2nd place, Wayne Taylor in a March 802. In 3rd place, Tony Martin in a Maurer MM8. And in 4th place, Ian Scheckter in a March 78B. Those results, as we say, are subject to confirmation. We'll do that.